Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now starting a part 2 of CatNap Deku, written by Dog Day 2006. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin. Izuku and Shigaraki, you think you could get rid of me? I say, holding my cut wound, I'm free. Kurogiri says, surprised, Kurogiri. Someone as crazy as this would be nothing but a problem for the League of Villains. I say, please reconsider. This man might be a great asset if he joins us. I'd say this was a success. Kurogiri says, my business here is done. Now, you will return me back to Hosu. There are still several false heroes I must attend to there. Stain says, liking his lips. Iida POV in Pro Hero Manual's agency as Manual takes off his helmet showing his light brown hair. Well, the nice thing about having the whole city on alert is that no villains will dare come out. Manual says, oh, yeah, sure. I say, taking off my helmet, Hero Killer Stain. It was obvious once I looked at your crimes. In the 7 places that you've appeared so face, you've always injured at least 4 pro heroes. Maybe there's a reason for that, or maybe I'm just reading into things, but it looks like a pattern. And Tensei is the only person you've attacked in Hosu. That means it's very likely that you'll appear in this city again. Good. I'll dispose of you with my own hands. With Izuku Day 3 at Grand Torino house as I dodge around the house avoiding every hit from GT, stop. GT says as I fly by him straight into a wall, ow, what's up? I say, my snout caved in like an actual stuffed animal, we should SWCH up the training. If you get too used to fighting against my distinct tactics, you might develop some weird habits. GT says, huh, what habits? I say, pulling my snout back, nothing bad, but we're done here. Change into your costume, boy. We're moving on to phase, GT says. A little while later outside the house I walk out wearing my cloak hiding my intimidating body, hope you're ready. We're going out to fight some villains. BC, if you only face me, you'll have some trouble with other opponents. The key is to let you get experience with different types of villains and situations. This is an internship, after all. GT says, yeah, I get what you're saying. I say, nodding, it won't do us any good hanging around here. GT says, lifting his hand as a taxi drives up. The driver looks up at my tall height, can I just sit on the roof of your car, sir? I say, sure, he says, a little concerned, don't worry, he'll be fine. GT says, getting into the car as I climb up on top. Because of the small population in this area, the crime rate is pretty low. That's why there are so many hero agencies in urban areas, there's a lot more crime there. The higher the population density, the more trouble you'll find. No, in Shibuya, we'll have plenty of small fights to break up, I guarantee. GT talks to me on the phone, Shibuya. Also, are we taking the bullet train toward Shinjuku, right? I say as the wind blows in my face, yup. GT says, I wonder how Iida's doing there. I thought to myself. Iida POV at the same time, Hosu City will patrol Kyoto today, too. Sorry, this is so monotonous. The Pro Hero Manual says, no, it's better this way. I say, looking around, hey. This is kinda hard to ask, but you're after the hero killer, aren't you? Manual asks as we both stop, how did you? I say, surprised, I couldn't think of any other reason why you'd come to my agency. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm really glad you did, but you shouldn't be pursuing personal grudges. We heroes don't have the authority to arrest people or punish them. The only reason we're allowed to use our quirks is because of the regulations put on them. That's why, no matter how noble the reason may be, a hero must not use their quirk for themselves. If a pro uses their power for their own selfish desires, it would be a very serious crime. I'm not saying that the hero killer isn't incredibly guilty or something. You just seem like the earnest type. I'd hate for you to focus on one goal and ignore anything else. Manual says, getting nervous about what he just said was a bad idea, thank you. I appreciate it. Iida says, bowing his head a little, oh, it's fine, as long as you get what I'm saying. So, are we good? Manuel says as he starts walking, no, what am I supposed to do with this burning hatred if I can't act? I thought to myself, still frustrated. Shigaraki POV still in Hosu city as Stain stands up on a small water tower. Kurogyri opens a portal behind him as I walk out of it. Ha! Hosu city looks nicer than I expected. So, what are you gonna do? I ask, staring at the sunset. I will reform it. In order to do so, BLD must spill. Stain says, his tongue out. You have a clear goal. Your dedication is admirable. Kuro says. Ah, finally, someone who understands. Stain says, standing up. I get the feeling you enjoy picking on me. I say, a little annoyed at the compliment. Hero is a title for those who've accomplished great deeds. This city is full of false champions. All they care about is money and fame. Until this world realizes its mistakes, I will continue my work. Stain says, jumping off the small water tower and runs along the roof. He talks all high and mighty and stuff, but he's wasted his time focusing on a small stage. He's so noble I could cry. I say, scratching my neck in annoyance, you shouldn't spurn his methods. The reality is, in all the cities where Stain has appeared, the crime rate has fallen. Perhaps BC heroes are more conscientious, or perhaps out of fear. Regardless, he does bring change. Kurogyri says, oh, isn't that just wonderful? Heroes are working harder thanks to all those murders. This is getting boring. It won't work. We just can't agree on a basic level. And he annoys me. Kurogyri, bring out the Nomus. You think you can get away with stabbing me? When I get tired of you, I'll kill you. Whenever I feel like it. Just like that, Stain. But let's make it more interesting. How about I crush your honor and your pride first? What do you say, big bad hero killer? I say as 3 Nomus come out of a portal. Izu POV on the bullet train, so, this train isn't gonna get there until pretty lat dash. I say before my ear twitches as I look around, is something wrong, boy? GT asks, I hear something. I say confused, hey, did you see that? Passenger 1 says, catching my attention, a building exploded. Passenger 2 says, a little scared as I hear the sound coming closer, something's coming T-dash. I say before something crashes into the side of the train as the dust settles. A pro hero can be seen, what the hell dash. The pro says before something grabs his head, smashing into the train floor as a creature with bluish green skin, exposed brain and 4 eyes. Flashback, there was this large creature with his brain exposed. It was creepy. I never want to see it again. Uraraka says, shivering from the thought. End of flashback, that's a Nomu. I thought to myself, I want you to stay back, you hear me? GT says, before propelling over everyone, before kicking it off the pro, before propelling off the wall and kicking the Nomu out of the train, I rushed to the hole in the train. Seeing GT propelling the Nomu into a far-off building, I turned to see a large fire in the distance. What the heck is going on? I say. Shigaraki POV, I laugh at seeing the destruction. Now this is a good game. I say happily. Iida POV, what did you say? Villains appeared. Don't worry. I can head there right now. Stay with me. We're running. Manuel says as he starts running to the fire as I follow. Couldn't be, this is different. That murderer wouldn't be so flashy. I thought to myself before stopping and looking down an alley as my eyes widened before running into the alley. That idiot's making a move. And he's so noisy. I'll have to dispose of him later. At the moment, I have important work to finish here. Stain says, holding a pro hero against a wall that wears an Indian-related hero costume. My body, I can't move. You bstrd. I'll kill you. Says pro hero native. If you call yourself a hero, you should choose your last words with care. Stain says, getting ready to kill native. I jump and going to kick Stain, but Stain swings his sword, hitting my helmet off and flung backwards onto the ground. A child wearing a suit. Who are you? Run away from here. This is not a place for children. Stain says. You're carrying blades all over your body and you're wearing a BLD red scarf. You must be the hero killer Stain. It's you, right? I've been looking for you, but I didn't think I'd find you so soon. I am Dash. I say, before Stain points his sword at my face. Your eyes are searing with vengeance. Be careful what you say next. If need be, even someone your age can be my target. Stain says, as I clench my fists. Are you saying that I'm not even a threat to you? You listen to me, criminal. I am the brother of an incredible hero who you attacked. He's the best older brother that anyone could hope for. I have come to stop you. BC he can't anymore. You're going to remember my name for as long as you live. I am Ingenium, and I will defeat you. That, I promise. I say angrily. Then, so be it. Die. Stain says, with a stare that can pierce a soul. Hero killer, Stain versus you, students. Hello everyone, I didn't think my other story would take so long, so I'm going to make another chapter for all the eager audience. Recap Izuku POV on the bullet train. So, this train isn't gonna get there until pretty lat dash. I say before my ear twitches as I look around, is something wrong boy? GT asks, I hear something. I say confused, hey, did you see that? Passenger 1 says catching my attention, a building exploded. Passenger 2 says a little scared as I hear the sound coming closer, something's coming T-dash. I say before something crashes into the side of the train as the dust settles. A pro hero can be seen, what the hell dash. The pro says before something grabs his head smashing into the train floor as a creature with bluish green skin, exposed brain and 4 eyes. Flashback, there was this large creature with his brain exposed. It was creepy. I never want to see it again. Uraraka says shivering from the thought. End of flashback, that's a Nomu. I thought to myself, I want you to stay back, you hear me? GT says before propelling over everyone, before kicking it off the pro, before propelling off the wall and kicking the Nomu out of the train. I rushed to the hole in the train. Seeing GT propelling the Nomu into a far-off building, I turned to see a large fire in the distance. What the heck is going on? I say. End of recap. Everyone, please. Remain calm. Return to your seats. The villain is no longer here. More heroes will arrive soon, I'm sure dash, the train conductor says, before a gust of wind flies by him as I stand at the hole in the train, my cloak swaying in the wind. Keep them calm. I'm going after him. I say, bouncing off the train and sprinting off with great speed. There can't be that many people with wild eyes and brains spilling out. Maybe Nomu's brother. What are these creatures? No time for detours or stairs. Gotta put my training to the test. I thought to myself, before jumping off the building and onto another. Grand Torino. Please be okay. I thought to myself. No POV with Grand Torino as a Nomu breaks through a wall chasing civilians, a villain. Run. Where are all the pros? A man says, helping a lady up. The Nomu goes to attack but GT kicks the Nomu in the chest, bouncing off. I haven't fought this earnestly in years. Picking a fine time to patrol. That's right. Bring it on, ugly. GT says, as the Nomu attacks but GT propels over the Nomu. He's fast. But not faster than me. GT thought to himself, as the Nomu continued to chase the couple. Stop it, you stupid beast. GT yells, propelling towards the Nomu. But a fire flies at the Nomu before swirling around it. GT stops himself from flying into the fire. I was looking for the elusive hero killer, but this thing will have to do. Thanks, old timer. I'm afraid I don't know you, but I can handle this from here on out. Number 2 hero says. It's you. GT says, surprised. Why, he and Hosu, a civil Lin says, in confusion. Isn't it obvious? I came because I'm a hero. Endeavor says, with a smirk. Izu POV. I rush past all the civilians looking confused or scared. They're probably at the center of this craziness. I don't get it. Why does that guy look like the Nomu? Uraraka explained. They said that guy had the same speed and strength of All Might using 100%. It won't just be Grand Torino in trouble, but the entire city. That includes Iida. He's interning here. CRP, what do I do? Come on, think. How do I be the best hero right now? I thought to myself. Tenya. Where are you, Tenya? Pro Hero Manual yells. I rush over before seeing a small bus get thrown a few feet as it lands on a car before exploding. My eyes widen seeing two other Nomus beating the heroes to the ground. Oh, no. What are these things? I thought to myself, before noticing a bull-like hero ripping a fire hydrant off the ground as water flew up. Manual. Stop the fire, the bull hero says, as Manual controls the water to the fire. That's Manual. The normal hero. Iida's at his agency. I thought to myself, rushing up to Manual. Why'd you run off by yourself? Where the hell are you, Tenya? Damn it. Manual says, control the water to the fire. I stop in my tracks, the white dots in the abyss surrounding, the dot shrinks. Don't you F-sharp king tell me Iida Hosu city guys who look like Nomu Iida Hosu where the hero killer attacked this idiot is after the hero killer. I thought to myself, before sprinting off. Shigaraki POV on a water tower, Nomus make such great playthings. I say, watching the destruction. Are you not going to participate in the fight? Kurojiri asks. Don't be stupid. The arm the cat snapped is still healing. That's why I brought those pets with us. I say, holding my arm, my bones still aching. Flashback, MSTR, how many Nomu are ready? I ask, looking at a TV with the words, sound only, shown. I've finished adjusting the behavior of 6 of them. Though, they are not as strong as the one from the USJ attack, the so-called MSTR says. Give them to me. I say, annoyed. Why? MSTR asks. BC, I don't like that arrogant hero killer you brought in. And it's my right to destroy anything that I don't like, right, MSTR? I say, very irritated. Very well. However, you may only take 3. Try to use this as a learning experience, MSTR says. End of flashback. I start laughing. Once this night is over, the world will have forgotten you ever existed, hero killer. Iida POV with Iida and Stain, a child wearing a suit. Who are you? Stain asks, pointing his sword at me. I am the brother of an incredible hero who you attacked. He's the best older brother that anyone could hope for. I have come to stop you. BC, he can't anymore. You're going to remember my name for as long as you live. I am Ingenium, and I will defeat you. That's, promise. I yell, in angry confidence. Then so be it. Die. Stain says, glaring at me. For Tensei. I yell, as I go to kick. Ingenium. So you're brothers. I let him live so he could spread the good word. Word of me. Stain says, dodging the kick before kicking his foot spike into my shoulder, then using his other foot to slam my head into the ground. You're a weakling. Just like he was. Stain says, stabbing his sword into my arm. You aren't heroes. You have no right to be called that. Both of you are nothing but fakes. Stain says. Shut up, villain. You damaged his spine and paralyzed him from the waist down. He's never gonna be able to work as a pro hero again. My brother was incredible. A caring person who saved many lives. Someone people look up to. You had no right to take that all away from him. I say, sad and angry at the same time. Flashback Tensei. I'm so proud of you. You've become independent at a very young age, with many sidekicks following you. That's no easy feat in these times. My dad says. Nah, they're not followers. It's the opposite, Dad. They support me because I'm not good on my own. They're just looking out for me. I honestly couldn't do anything without them. I need their support. Of course, I'm working hard so I can return the favor. I'm not super talented or anything, but if I'm going to call myself a hero, then I have to live up to that title and help people. My brother says, as young me smiles inspired. End of flashback. He's my hero. My older brother inspired my dream that one day I could be a pro, too. I won't forgive you. I'll kill you. I yell, crying trying to get up. Shouldn't you be worried about saving that guy? So busy with your grudge you forgot about him. You plan on using your quirk only for yourself. You're completely blinded by a selfish longing for revenge. You're about as far away from being a hero as I can imagine. And that's why you'll die tonight. Stain says, as he licks my BLD before my body stops functioning. My body won't move. I thought to myself. As Stain adjusted his sword right above my head ready to strike. Goodbye, child. May your death bring about a better world. Stain says, as I feel like death is above me. No, please. Not like this. Say whatever you want to about me. You're still just a criminal who hurt my brother. I yell, in fury before Stain stops and looks down the alley. His eyes widen before a purple blur double kicks him before landing as I notice a large figure in a cloak as the hood blows off showing a purple large cat-like head. Then I know who it is, Izuku. How? I say, before getting slapped on the back of the head with his tail. Don't do this again, idiot. BC now I have to save you. I say, annoyed but turns to confidence in a split second. Izuku POV a few minutes ago, I might be overthinking things. I don't exactly have proof. But this idiot has gone too far. Guys like Nomu are running wild. The same place the hero killer appeared. I don't want to admit it, but I'm afraid the League of Villains and the hero killer are connected somehow. I thought to myself, running through an alley. The hero killer is probably somewhere in the city at this very moment. Since Iida stupidly ran off, he must be after the one who hurt his brother. I thought to myself, before seeing Stain getting ready to stab Iida down an alley, I bound off a wall with great speed, before double-kicking Stain in the stomach pushing him away. I see Stain is a little surprised seeing me, he knows me. I thought to myself. You found him, too. But ho dash. Iida says. Shut up, idiot, I can't believe you went after this creep. Now get up and we can go to the pros. I say, keeping my eyes on Stain. Ugh. I can't move my body. It must be his quirk. Since he cut me. I've been paralyzed. Iida says, struggling to get up. I heard on TV that victims of Stain's attack said the same thing. So cutting somehow activates his quirk, huh? I said, before seeing another hero. There's someone else. If it had just been Iida, I could have enough time to grab Iida, but with another person Stain could attack. I thought to myself. Izuku, please. Don't get involved. This doesn't have anything to do with you. Iida says, as I look at him annoyed. What do you mean? I say, glaring at him. You showed up to save your friend's life. You even made a big entrance. But I have a duty to kill him and this so-called pro. When your friend chose to fight me, it guaranteed that the weaker of us would be culled. Stain says, as his glare has my fur standing up. So what will you do? Stain says. He's different from those self-entitled League of Villains. Those are the eyes of a fanatic. I messaged the others my location in case of emergency after I found out about Iida running away. I thought to myself, as a sweat dripped down my face. Even though it was just a guess, and I didn't have any proof, I should have made sure that a pro came with me to find him. I'll just have to protect these two who can't move and stall for time all by myself. Maybe I can even force the hero killer to run. I thought. Listen to me. Iida says, as I turn my head irritated. I swear to God you better say something good. I say, as I glare at him. Stand down. Run away. I told you, this has nothing to do with Dash. Iida says, as I WHP him across the face with my tail. Shut up. If you really believe that, then why the F#CH are you trying to become a hero? I yell, as I get into a fighting position. It's basically the fighting position that cats use. All Might was right, though. Meddling when you don't need to is the essence of being a hero. I say, as Stain smiles in surprise. I then start spraying some red illusion gas, but not a lot, just to coat the ground. I blitz toward Stain. He's fast. But his body is too big to dodge this. Stain says, as he goes to swing he hits nothing as the illusion disappears, but my real body is above him ready to slash at his head, but he dodges as my paw flies by his head. Her then slashes my paw off before kicking me to a wall, followed by my severed paw. He goes to lick the blade, but he licks up cotton before spitting it out. Egg, I see your body's not organic, but you can't move well without this paw, right? You're basically already affected by my quirk. Stain says, SHT my paw, wait, he liked his knife, he needs BLD to use his quirk. I thought to myself. But you're not fast enough. That gas you used didn't help hiding your presence. Stain says. I flip my pendant, little spider-like legs come out of the pendant and crawl to my severed paw, dragging it to my arm as it starts shooting a liquid metal, slowly connecting my metal endoskeleton. There are countless false heroes around here who are all talk, but I think you're worthy of staying alive. You're different from these two. Stain says, as he goes back to Iida, lifting his sword above Iida's neck again. SHT, SHT, I thought to myself, as Stain was going to strike. Stop. I yell, before fire is shot at Stain, causing Stain to dodge. Someone else to get in my way. Today's been full of distractions. Stain says. Izu, you need to give more details in times like this. I was almost too late to stop this guy. To-do says, showing the message that I sent. You, too, Todoroki. Iida says. Thank God. I say, sighing before I notice he's using his left side. Your message took me a while to figure out. Next time, try to send more than just your specific location. But you're not really one to send cryptic messages without a reason, are you? To-do says, sending ice on the ground. Lifting me, Iida and the pro hero. So I figured you were in trouble and asking for help. Everything's okay. The pro heroes will be here any minute. To-do says, running at Stain before shooting fire from his arm, making Stain dodge as the ice melts below me, making me and the other two slide down next to To-do. The time will be up for one of them soon. Stain thought to himself. You're just what they said you were. But you won't be taking any more lives, hero killer. To-do says. Todoroki. Don't let him get you, BLD. I think he controls his enemy's actions by swallowing it. And give me time, my arm is almost reattached. I say. He ingested BLD to keep people from moving. That explains the blades, plus they seem to be quite strong to cut through your endoskeleton. But all I've gotta do is keep my distance, dash. To-do says. A small knife flies by his face, making a small cut on his cheek. You have good friends, Ingenium. Or you did. Stain says, going to cut To-do, but he creates a small ice rock to block Stain's strike. Stain and To-do see Stain's sword up in the air. His sword. He threw it at the same time as the knife. To-do thought, before Stain tugs To-do closer, going to lick To-do's cut, but To-do sets his left side on fire, making Stain jump back, as a wave of ice makes Stain jump before grabbing his sword and cutting the ice, but To-do sends another ice wave. Just stop it. Why are you doing this? His fight is with me. I inherited my brother's dash. Iida says, before I hit him across the head with little force. You idiot, you're now Ingenium. But did Ingenium ever have that face? No, he never had a face of revenge. I say, before noticing Stain swiftly cut to deuce ice. You blocked your own field of vision against an opponent who's faster than you. Rookie mistake. Stain says. Come get me then. To-do says, setting his left side ablaze before two small knives stab his arm. You're good, kid. Unlike him. Stain says, going to kill the pro, but I jump up grabbing him as I start swinging my claws at him in an attempt to do any damage to Stain, but he protects himself with his sword. I jump back next to To-do, seeing I can't do anything with my claws. I probably have an idea on how his quirk works from what I think it has a time limit. I say, as I flip my pendant back as a cloak wrapped around my body. A time limit. To-do says. No. I should have been the first to be freed. And I still can't move a muscle, the pro hero says. They figured it out. Stain thought so himself, trying to recover from the pure strength from my powerful attacks. I've got 3 different guesses. His quirk could be less effective the more he uses it. Or it could be about BLD types. This is only a theory, so we don't know. I say. If it's the last one, my BLD type is B, the pro hero says, weakly. I'm type A, Iida says. And I have no BLD in my body, but he has the strength to cut off my arms. I thought to myself. So you figured it out. Bravo. Very impressive. Stain says. Hero killer Stain. His quirk, blood curdle. By tasting someone's BLD, he can freeze them for up to 8 minutes, depending on their BLD type. From shortest to longest time, it's O, A, B, and B present, Mike narrates. It doesn't really help us that much to know how his quirk works, though. I say. I thought we could hurry and carry those 2 out of here, but it's no good. He's fast, but he's sorta slower than you. And he can dodge ice and fire. I'd have to leave myself unguarded. Our best option is to hold until the pros arrive and avoid close combat. To-do says, his arm bleeding from the knife wounds. No, you've already lost way too much BLD. I'll support you the best I can. Sounds like a plan. I say, as I activate my new nano claws as they fold around my paws. You want us to take a pretty big risk. Okay. We can protect them. To-do says, as we both get in our fighting stance. Todoroki POV, 2 against 1, huh? This fight won't be easy. Stain says, getting ready too. Iida. I've been worried about you ever since your brother was attacked. I recognize the face of someone who's drowning in resentment. I thought, as Izuku bolts with great speed off the walls. And I know just how narrow your field of vision can get when you long for justice. That day, I told her about my life with my father, and about who I have become. She cried and apologized. She forgave me. Faster than I had imagined. She told me to move forward. That nothing was holding me back, and that doing so would be her salvation. If I hadn't spoken to her, I would have never been able to choose my old man's agency for my internship. I couldn't bear being near him. I haven't forgiven him. I doubt I ever truly will. I thought to myself. Izuku goes to slash at Stain, but he dodges before Izuku plants his paws on the ground and does a spinning kick, knocking him back before I start using my ice to separate them. But I chose him, so I could learn what it takes to be the number 2 hero with my own eyes and ears. I had to know. I thought to myself, as Stain bones off the walls as I try hitting Stain with my fire. Flashback, get ready. We're going out. Endeavor says. Yeah, okay. Where to? I ask, looking confused. If the hero killer is following his patterns, we know where he'll show up next, and we'll be there to stop him. We're taking a work trip to Hosu. Endeavor says, walking out of the room. My old man is a scumbag. But a scumbag with judgment and instincts of a number 2 hero. And I can acknowledge that. I thought to myself. End of flashback, it's so simple. But I still need someone to show me. Just a few words. 2 short sentences. I thought to myself, still letting a stream of fire at Stain. Iida POV flashback, shouldn't you be worried about saving that guy? Stain says. Don't do this again, idiot. BC, now I have to save you. Izu says. We can protect them. Todoroki says, standing next to Izu. End of flashback. Stain dodges Izu before slicing at Izu leg, chipping Izu endoskeleton enough to immobilize Izu. Not good. His fighting style has completely changed. Izu thought, before Todoroki shoots fire at Stain, making him dodge. Izu. Todoroki yells, as Izu activates his pendant to fix his leg. You have to run. I can't watch this. I say, tearing up. You want to make your brother proud. Todoroki yells, as gasp in realization. Then stand up and be Ingenium. Todoroki says, as he sends ice at Stain, but he cuts straight through it. Become the hero he wanted you to be. Todoroki says, igniting his left side even more. I am Ingenium, and I will defeat you, as I remember what I vowed to do as I start moving my fingers. Facts about CatNap to people that are curious: Deku is extremely flexible. His speed is in between normal speed and the speed of sound. That's why during the cavalry battle he got those headbands so easily. His tail is elastic. He doesn't feel much pain unless it's a monstrous attack like from muscular. He many uses sleep gas and fear gas. He has exceptional night vision. His senses are heightened with addition to his training with Grand Torino. He has a special ability it will be later into the story, but that's a secret. His strength is around a bodybuilder. His endoskeleton is made of iron, but May is working on making it stronger. Well, that's all the facts for now. You may ask any questions and I'll answer. Don't worry, I keep an eye on my notifications. CLMX. Hello everyone, I'm back. None POV flashback. Are you familiar with the turbo hero, Ingenium? Iida asks, in the cafeteria. I might know some of it. He's a famous hero. With 65 sidekicks working at his Tokyo agency. Izu says, flicking a SWCH in my chest before pouring shredded fruits in his mouth. He's my elder brother. Ingenium is an unmatched commander who honors the hero code. As the second oldest Iida son, I strive to be just like him. Iida says, proudly. Izu doesn't have a natural throat. It's like several holes that are used for the gas. He eats through those as well, but he has to flip a SWCH in his chest to his energy supply. He doesn't have a stomach, but the food he eats with a tank where his stomach should be that turns that food into energy. The last organs he should have is a heart, lungs, and brain. Thanks for your time. Now back to the story. End of flashback. Iida, stand up and be Ingenium. Todoroki says, as he attacks with his ice, but Stain easily cuts through his ice. Become the hero he wanted you to be. Todoroki says, lighting his left side aflame. I am Ingenium, and I will defeat you. That I promise. Can I call myself a hero? My friends are protecting me. They're bleeding for me. Iida thought to himself, as I looked at the hero I could have saved. Shouldn't you be worried about saving that guy? The words of Stain goes through my mind. I shoot fire at Stain, but he jumps out of the way. Stain, the hero killer. I took my brother's name so that I could teach this villain a lesson. But I was so consumed with revenge, that I forgot about what really matters. I was too focused on myself to help anyone else. Iida thought to himself, as he cried. Flashback, you want to be a hero, too, Tenya. Tensei says. Yes. Like you. A cool one. Young Iida says, moving his arm like a robot. With robot arms. Tensei says, there's something I wanted to ask you, big brother. What drives you? Why did you choose to become a pro hero in the first place? Iida asks. Well, our grandfather and parents were all heroes. So everyone kind of expected I would be on, too. Staying in the family business and all that. Plus, it makes sense to me. I think the coolest people in the world are those who do things for others. I wanted to be the kind of guy who helps people in trouble. Tensei says, putting up his armor. Then why not work as a police officer or something? Iida says, bluntly. Aren't you listening to me? Think of what I'm saying. You take things at face value a little too much. But you're a hard worker, and definitely smarter and more athletic than me back when I was a kid. Wait a second. That's my secret. Knowing you look up to me makes me better. I have to be sure I make you proud. Tensei says, laughing. Iida POV end of flashback, both of you are nothing but fakes. Stain says. You spoke the truth, hero killer. I thought to myself, as Todoroki shoots fire at Stain but he dodges. Watch your right. Izuku warns, as his pendant is still trying to repair his leg. These two are different from me. I'm immature. I can't hold a candle to them. But still, I thought to myself, as I slowly clench my fist, Stain maneuvers through Todoroki's ice before dodging Todoroki's fire. Ice and fire. Stain thought. Just try and dodge this, villain. Todoroki thought to himself, before creating more ice. Hasn't anyone ever told you you rely on your quirk too much? Makes you a careless fighter. Stain says, as he goes to cut off Todoroki's arm. Todoroki. Izuku yells, trying to get up but falls to the ground again, but Izuku then notices something in the corner of his eye. If I don't stand up right now, I'll never be as good as them. I'll never live up to my brother's name. I thought, as I am slowly charging my quirk. DMN it. My quirk timed out. Stain thought. Recipro burst. I yell, before speeding up to Todoroki and Stain with a swift kick I slap Stain's sword followed by another kick to Stain. He's fast. Stain says. Good job, idiot. Izuku says. You're free, too. Guess his quirk isn't as great as I thought it was. Todoroki says. Todoroki Izuku, this has nothing to do with you. I apologize. I say, as I feel Izuku glaring at me to shut up. I'm okay. And I won't let the two of you shed any more BLD for me. I say. It's no use trying to pretend you're a hero now. A person's true nature doesn't change in just a few minutes. You'll never be anything but a fraud who prioritizes his own desires. You're the sickness that infects society and ruined the name hero. Someone must teach you a lesson. Stain says, as Izuku digs his claws into the ground, irritated thinking he can judge anyone. You're a fundamentalist lunatic. Iida, don't listen to this murderer's nonsense. Todoroki says. No, he's completely correct. I have no right to call myself a hero at all. Even so, there's no way I can back down. If I give up now, then the name Ingenium will die. I say, as BLD drips down my arm. Pathetic. Stain says, going to charge at me, Todoroki gets in front of me using his fire. Idiots. The hero killer is only after me and that kid in the white armor. Stop fighting back, just get out of here, pro-hero native says, begging on the ground. I don't think he'd let me run even if I wanted to. Something clearly changed in him just now. He seems rattled. Todoroki says. Stain is standing on his sword embedded in the wall as he jumps away. Todoroki then sends a wave of ice at him. His quirk alone isn't especially powerful. The issue of BLD type makes it unpredictable and it doesn't last long. Plus, he has to get in close if he wants to use it. It must be difficult for him to take on multiple opponents at once. He's desperate, trying to kill Iida and this other hero before the pros show up. Such tenacity. Todoroki thought to himself, as Izuku's pendant was finishing up fixing his leg. I try to use my quirk but it's not working. CRP. My engines are shot. Did I break the radiator with the kick? Hey, Todoroki. Can you regulate your temperatures? I asked Todoroki. Not well with my left, but yes, I can. Todoroki says, still trying to keep Stain at bay with his fire. You gotta freeze my leg for me, without plugging the exhaust. I ask. You're in the way. Stain says, throwing knives at Todoroki, but I block the knives with my arm. Why won't you stay down? Stain says, before using a bigger knife to pin me to the ground. Iida. Todoroki says, stopping his fire to check on me. Just do it, hurry. I ordered. I can finally move. Izuku says, as his pendant goes back around his neck. I gotta concentrate. Izuku thought, the white pupils in his eyes disappearing as he lets his body take control. Todoroki freezing around my leg, I grab the knife off my arm with my mouth. Thank you, Todoroki. I will fight with or without my arms. Recipro extend. I say, using my quirk at full strength, as I bound off the ground and towards Stain who's falling. Izuku bounds off the ground, shattering the ice under his paws faster than me as he makes it to Stain, ready to slam his back paw into the back of Stain's head. If we just use our legs, that's all I need to beat this guy. Me and Izuku think at the same time as Izuku bashes his back paw into the back of Stain's head, followed by me kicking Stain in the back. Grand Torino POV as a Nomu goes to punch me, I propel off the ground above it. He's fast, but not faster than me. I say, as the Nomu continues after the civilians. Stop it, you stupid beast. I yell, as I propel towards the Nomu, but before I could make it fire is shot at the Nomu, engulfing it. I stop myself. Thanks, old timer. I'm afraid I don't know you, but I can handle this from here on out. Pro Hero Endeavor says, walking up. Whoa, look, Civilian 1 says, surprised. Why is he in Hosu? Citizen 2 says. It's because I'm a hero. Endeavor says, before the fire on the Nomu goes out leaving burns. That was only a low-temperature warning shot. But, still, it always KOs my opponent. Endeavor thought, before I noticed something. Something's not right. This guy is, I say, before a wave fire bursts off the Nomu. I manage to dodge, but Endeavor casually controls the fire to go around him. Your quirk's absorption and release, but you still took damage from my flames, didn't you? Not a very impressive power. Endeavor says, as the Nomu's body starts growing muscles. What's he doing? Watch it, Todoroki. I think this guy's got multiple quirks. I say, as the Nomu's muscles stop growing before bouncing off the ground. I see. So that's how it is, Endeavor says, as I land before looking around. Those two bystanders got away, right? Good. I say, as Endeavor lifts his hand, the Nomu opens its mouth and weird tentacles, but I bounce off the ground kicking the tentacles before propelling mid-air towards the Nomu, smashing him into the ground with a swift double kick. Didn't mean to damage the road. I might be more out of practice than I thought. I say. Ha. Nice work. You're not bad, old man, Endeavor says, as we hear an explosion, noticing smoke in the distance. That must be where the rest of the heroes are gathered. It's been 2 or 3 minutes. They would have taken care of things by now, Endeavor says. We need to tie this guy up. The cops will take care of him from there. Then we can help out. I say, as Endeavor grumbles. Endeavor's POV flashback from Shoto. There's trouble ahead. I'll show you what it means to be a hero. I say, as I lead Todoroki to the battle scene. Todoroki's phone buzz. Todoroki stops to check, noticing it's from Izuku. Damn it. Watch me. I says, turning to face my son. All he sent was his location. Todoroki says, before running off. Hey. Wait. Where the hell are you going? I say, confused. An alleyway at April 2nd, 10 Iku Street. If you finish what you're doing or see extra pros, send them there. I'm leaving you here to take care of this trouble. I'm sure you can handle it yourself. My friend might be in danger. Todoroki says, running off. Shoto, I say, surprised. Grand Torino POV. End of flashback. Leave him to my sidekicks. They'll make sure the cops take him. There's an address that I need you to investigate for me. I'm Endeavor. I can take care of the rest of this myself. Endeavor says, confidently. Izu POV with Izu, Iida and Todoroki, go, guys. To-do says, as me and Iida at the same time, as I bashed the back of my paw into the back of Stain's head followed by Iida kicking Stain in the back. They managed to land 2 attacks. My turn. To-do thought to himself, getting ready to use his fire, but Stain grabs his sword and slashes at Iida's arm. I will defeat you, Stain. BC, you are a criminal. Iida says. Don't let him get away. To-do says, shooting his fire at Stain, as I wrap my tail around him, keeping Stain from moving any further. And I am a hero. Iida says, kicking Stain with great force, I release my tail, before To-do's fire hits Stain roasting him. Me and Iida start falling but To-do makes a slide of ice as we slide down. Me and Iida hit our heads. Luckily for me I have a metal skull, but Iida not so much. Stand up. Keep fighting. To-do says, before noticing Stain out cold. He's gotta have a concussion from my kick to his head, so he's probably knocked out. Right. I say, standing up and stretching like a cat. Then, let's restrain him and get him to the street. Maybe we can find some rope. To-do says, as I nod. We should probably take all his weapons, too. I say, as Iida stares in disbelief. POV none at the fight with the Nomus. A large Nomu goes to punch a pro. 2 ninja pros jump up throwing shurikens but not doing any damage. Everyone attack at once, a bull hero says, charging the Nomu. Right, all the heroes say, jumping at the Nomu, but the Nomu smashes the ground knocking all the pro heroes away and blinding everyone with dust. DMN it. Can't see. Hero 1 says. Where is he? Hero 2 says, as the dust clears, the Nomu stands behind Hero, watch out. Manuel yells, as the Nomu goes to punch Hero 1, but Endeavor punches the Nomu away. Endeavor, a pro says, in surprise as the Nomu stops himself his arm regenerates. So, you can regenerate. Well, then, Endeavor says, before charging at the Nomu and grabbing its head. Let's see you come back from this. Endeavor says, using his fire turns blue as the Nomu's head incinerates, the Nomu collapses. Incinerate cells can't regenerate. Endeavor says. Above you, a pro yells, as a flying Nomu flies off with an unconscious pro. Any hero whose quirk isn't suited for this, go help on Iku Street in District 4, Endeavor says. Another villain, a pro asks, worried. I don't know. Just do it. Endeavor says. Sprinting off after the flying Nomu he throws a fireball but the Nomu dodges. He's quick. That's fine. Endeavor thought, before jumping up onto the side of a building using his fire, I don't know what to type. Endeavor jumps up to the flying Nomu. He creates a fire arrow throwing it at the Nomu hitting its face as the Nomu drops the unconscious pro. Endeavor catches the pro. You won't get away. Endeavor says. Izu POV back with Izu, Iida and To-do, native, can you move? I say. Yeah. I think I'm good as new now. Pro Hero native says, as I nod before looking over to Iida and To-do. Ha. We're lucky someone threw this in the dumpster. To-do says. Todoroki. I can drag him from here. Iida says, before my tail wraps around Stain lifting him off the ground. Not with that injury. I say, glaring at Iida before we start walking. I have to apologize. I'm supposed to be a pro, but I was useless back there. Native says, as I sigh. Don't drag yourself. No one could have faced the hero killer by themselves. Not with that weird quirk. I say, trying to reassure Native. The 3 of us barely won against him, and even then, it was because of his own mistakes. He was getting riled up and desperate and forgot about Izu being able to repair his leg. He wasn't able to block Iida's last reciproburst or Izu's immense speed and strength. Todoroki says. As we make it out of the alley, right, let's get him to the police as fast as we can. Native says, my eyes widen seeing something I wish I didn't. What are you doing here, boy? Grand Torino says, standing there angry. Grand Torino. I say, before ducking under a kick. I thought I told you to stay on the bullet train. GT says, going to kick me again from behind but I catch his foot. He smiles before landing back on the ground. Sorry, I had to do something. I say. Who's this? Todoroki asks. Grand Torino, the hero I'm interning with. But how did you find us? I say, moving my paw around to see if it's still functioning after his kick. I was told to come here by someone else. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm glad you're not dead, at least. GT says, his hands to his waist still irritated. I'm sorry. I say, before my ears lift hearing something catching Todoroki and GT attention. Around the corner. Pro 1 says, running up with some other pros. Endeavor told us there was a request for help here, but 2 kids and a giant cat. Pro 2 says, I hold back the urge to backhand/paw the pro. Those injuries look bad. I'll call an ambulance right away. Pro 3 says, worried. Hey, look. Pro 4 says. Is that the hero killer? Pro 5 says, gasping seeing Stain tied up by lower Stain. To the ground. I'll get the police on the line. Pro 3 says, before grabbing his phone. You good native? I say, looking around hearing something but don't know where it's coming from. I'm fine, just a little dizzy. Native says, holding his head. Only minor injuries. But Iida, Todoroki says, talking to one of the pro heroes. You're bleeding badly. The ambulance will be here soon, but until then, Pro 3 says, worried as Iida walks over to me and Todoroki as I still look around from where the noise is coming from. You guys, you were both hurt because of me. I'm truly sorry. I was just so angry. I couldn't see anything else. Iida says, bowing his head with tears going down his cheeks, I sigh. I'm sorry too, I should have seen your anger sooner. I say, looking away in embarrassment knowing I don't normally act this way. Hey, pull yourself together. You're the class rep, Todoroki says, as Iida wipes his tears with his working arm. Right. Iida says. All things considered, our fight against the hero killer probably only took about 10 minutes. But for the 3 of us, it felt like we were in that alley forever. I narrate. I turn my head finally finding the noise. GT notices my shocked expression before seeing a flying Nomu coming around the corner. Get down. Me and GT yelled. But it was too late. The Nomu grabbed Native with its claws. Native. Everyone yells. It's bleeding. It must be trying to escape. Pro 1 says, some BLD hitting her face. If he takes him too high, I won't be able to reach him with my quirk. GT thought to himself. My ear twitches looking at the hero killer cutting out of the ropes before liking the Nomus BLD off Pro 1's face. The Nomu yells slowly descending. The word hero has lost all meaning in this society. The world is overrun by fakes and criminals like you who chase petty dreams. Stain says, jumping onto the Nomu before stabbing the Nomu's head as they hit the ground. You must all be purged. Stain says. Flashback, that idiot's making a move. And he's so noisy. I'll dispose of him later. Stain says. End of flashback. Everything that I do is to create a strong society. Stain says, taking the knife out of the Nomu's head. With Shigaraki, hey, what the hell? This is not fair. Why'd he have to go and kill that Manu? And why is that cat here? I'm so mad, I don't even know what to say. This is a mess. Shiga says, as he starts scratching his neck. Why do things never go the way I want them to? Shiga says, annoyed. Back with the others, did he just save native? Pro 3 says. He took him hostage, idiot. Pro 4 says. He killed that guy with no hesitation. Pro 2 says. Everyone be on your guard, we've got a fight on our hands. Pro 1 says, as everyone gets in a fighting stance. Why are you all standing like fools? The villain must have flown this way, right? Endeavor says, running up. You took care of the rest. Pro 3 says, surprised he finished so fast. Mostly, things go a little rough at the end. Hold on. Don't tell me that man is, Endeavor says, noticing Stain. Let him go. I say, angrily. Endeavor. Stain says, breathing. Hero killer. Endeavor yells, getting ready to shoot Stain with fire. Wait, Todoroki. GT says, stopping Endeavor. Ha. Endeavor says, as Stain lets go of native, but his mask comes off, making everyone stand in fear. You are a false hero. I'll make this right. These streets must run with the BLD of hypocrites. Hero. I will reclaim that word. Come on. Just try and stop me, you fakes. There's only one man I'll let kill me. He is a true hero. All might is worthy. Stain says, letting a BLD lust make everyone stand in fear, but before we know it the BLD lust disappears. I think he's out cold. Endeavor says, as some of us, even me, fall back in shock. It wasn't until later that I heard what happened. A quirk didn't stop the hero killer. One of his broken ribs pierced his lung. He hadn't managed to lick anyone's BLD. But still, in the moment, none of us could bring ourselves to stand against him. Only the hero killer had any fight left. I narrate. The aftermath of hero killer, Stain reporter POV as we fly above a fiery scene in our helicopter. Okay. Can you hear me in the studio? I'm reporting to you live from the skies over Hosu City. It's unclear what is happening below, but take a look. Large clouds of smoke and fire are rising from different locations in the area. Is this due to a series of accidents? Or have villains taken the streets? Currently we have no info on the situation here, but our station will continue reporting as this breaking story unfolds. I say, before the cameraman stops recording. Don't you dare stop filming. Wait, what in the world? Look. I say, confused at what I'm seeing. At what? The cameraman says. Check out the building with the water tower on top. Zoom in. I say, as the cameraman zooms in on two people, Shigaraki and Kurojiri, these people. Two of them. CM says. Bystanders. How did they get up there? I say, confused. Shigaraki POV as I look through my binoculars, seeing all my Nomus being killed or captured before I decay the binoculars in anger. We're leaving. I say, annoyed. Are you satisfied with the results, Tamura Shigaraki? Kurojiri says, turning into a portal behind me. Depends on tomorrow's headlines, moron. I say, watching through the portal. Izu POV at a hospital, did you sleep, Izu? To-do asks. No. I say, annoyed that I have to stay in the hospital when I don't need to, but also thinking about the fight last night. I figured. Me neither. To-do says. Thinking about that fight now, we did good for our first face-to-face villain fight by ourselves. After everything that happened back there, it feels like a miracle we're still alive. I lost my goddamn leg for a minute, making me useless in the fight. I say, even more annoyed. Don't talk like that, you weren't useless, you landed one of the finishing blows, and I'm impressed by you, Iida. He was actually trying to kill you, but you stood tall. To-do says, looking at Iida. That's not true. I was, Iida says, before the door opens showing Pro Hero Manual and Grand Torino, my white pupils go out as I heighten my senses ready for him to kick me. I'm not going to attack the boy. But it seems you're all awake. GT says, walking up as my white pupils come back lowering my guard. But still boy, I could yell at you for hours right now. But before I do, you've got a visitor. The Hosu chief of police, Kenji Tsurigami. GT says, my cat-like senses start going haywire and my body is out of control, but I try to hold back the urge to run. We all stand up, but... No, please, stay seated, woof. Kenji says, as I jolt by the sudden woof, but Kenji brushes off the reaction. So you're the UA students who brought down the hero killer, huh? Kenji says. We are. To-do says. The police chief came all this way. Why? To-do thought to himself. Stain has some serious injuries. Several burns, several broken bones and a small concussion. Right now he's in the hospital under strict guard, woof. Here's a lesson you should have already learned. When quirks became the norm, the police force sought to maintain the status quo. They decided we wouldn't use quirks as weapons. That's when heroes came in. They could do what we couldn't, if they were licensed of course, woof. It would be impossible for the police to condone the use of deadly quirks. After all, we're here to stop sking harm from being done. The only reason pros can use their powers now is because of a strict code of ethics that the early heroes chose to abide by. That's why it's against the law for uncertified people to use their quirks to cause injury. Whether you were up against the hero killer or not, none of you had the authority to harm the villain. That means the three of you, and your supervisors, Endeavor, Manual, and Grand Torino, should receive harsh punishment for this gross abuse of your powers. Kenji says. My eyes widened before To-do spoke up. Now wait a minute. If Iida had not stepped in, Native would have been murdered. As and if not for Izuku, both would be dead. No one else even realized that the hero killer was in Hosu. Are you saying we should have stood by and watched people die? To-do says. So it's okay to break the law as long as it goes your way. Kenji says, only irritating To-do more. But, sir, isn't it a hero's job to save people? To-do say, angrily. This is why you're not a full-fledged pro yet. It's obvious UA and Endeavor haven't been teaching you near enough. What a shame. Kenji says, disappointed in UA. UDMN mutt. To-do says, marching up to Kenji angrily. I go to wrap my tail around him to stop him, but GT stops To-do. Stop there, kid. You'll want to hear him out till the end. GT says, as I retract my tail. What I've said is the official stance of the police department. But any punishment would only be necessary if this went public. If it did, you'd probably be applauded by citizens everywhere. But there's no way you could escape from being reprimanded. On the other hand, we could say Endeavor saved the day. Stain's burns would support this story completely, and we could pretend you weren't involved, woof. Thankfully, there were very few witnesses. This could be the last you heard of any punishments. It would mean no one would know about you, though. You'd receive no acclaim at all. The choice is yours. Personally, I know where I stand. I don't want to damage any promising young career. Not for a mistake like this. Kenji says, giving us a thumbs up. Either way, we'll need to take responsibility for being negligent as supervisors. Manual says, before Iida walks up bowing his head. I'm sorry. Should have listened. Iida says. Yeah. You caused us a lot of trouble. Remember that, and don't do it again. Manual says. Sir. Iida says. I'm sorry too. I say, reluctantly bowing my head a bit. Me, too. We'll leave it to you. To-do says, bowing his head. I know it's not fair. You won't enjoy any of the fame and praise you probably would have received it otherwise. But at least allow me, as the chief of police, to thank you. Kenji says, bowing his head as well. You know. You could have started with that. Todoroki says, as I swat the back of Todoroki's head with my tail. None of us knew we'd end up fighting in that back alley. And in the end, no one else would find out. But the implications of that battle would continue to eat at us. Even after our wounds had healed. I narrate. None POV as people look through the newspapers seeing Stain's fall. Now, our continuing coverage. 3 villains were captured in the Hosu riots. Their identities and motives are yet unknown. Based on their distinctive appearance, however, and the presence of 2 people our reporter filmed nearby, many are speculating they're connected to the League of Villains that attacked YA High last month. Male reporter says. The hero killer Stain claimed many lives. In fact, he has had more victims than any other criminal since All Might burst into the scene. With his arrest, everyone in the country can rest a little easier tonight. Female reporter says, as a figure on the street watches it before walking off. The seriously wounded hero killer is currently receiving treatment at a hospital under heavy police guard. Officials are awaiting the recovery of several of his victims before further investigating the villain's motives. Male reporter says, as a large figure listens to it deep in the forest. We're talking about a criminal who has left his mark on Japan, if not the world. The hero killer Stain. Why did he do it? What did he hope to gain? Don't be shy, we're taking calls and want to hear your thoughts. A podcast says, as a girl skipping through an abandoned warehouse listening to it. I'm coming to you live from Eloy Street in Hosu City. Last night, just after 8 p.m., the hero killer Stain was arrested by Endeavor on this very BLO, news lady says, before Kuro turns off the TV. He's all they're talking about. What about my Nomus? Shiga says, crumbling up a newspaper and throwing it to the side. Flashback, once this night is over, the world will have forgotten you ever existed. Shiga says, laughing evilly. End of flashback, not only have they not forgotten, but we didn't even make the front page. Shiga says, annoyed. Bakugo POV at Best Jeanist Agency, let's talk about the incident last night in Hosu. The hero killer Stain was arrested. There were also incidents with villains who resembled Nomu from the UA attack. You're likely worried how this all stitches together. Well, I, too, am concerned. People tend to come apart at the seams in times like this. That's why we heroes must remain calm despite our fears. Don't let chaos tempt you into thoughtless overreaction. Remember, we're here to protect others, not seek out vengeance. It'll be business as usual today. Standard material. May your minds and bodies be as sharp as your genes. BJ says, as everyone dismisses. Damn it. I'm so ready to get out of this place. I thought to myself, annoyed that I have to wear jeans and my hair brushed down. Kirishima POV at 4th Kind Agency, Izu wrote me back. That location he sent was in the middle of the action in Hosu. That's why he messaged us. Man, am I glad I reported it. I say, relieved. Hey. Put that down before 4th Kind sees you. We're gonna be late. Tetsu says, closing his locker before turning, but his eyes widen in fear. 1 second. I wanna reply. I say, before we both get hit in the head by FK, but luckily our Quirk stop his fists. What did I say about punctuality? FK says. Right. Sorry, sir. We both say, nervously. Come on. Time to patrol. FK says. Sorry, I'm skipping Momo's agency. I hate hair ads, they're annoying. I also have to skip Uraraka since they don't exactly have feelings for each other, but they did talk to each other. Izu POV. I walk back into the room. Me, Iida and Todoroki are staying and rubbing my ear after talking to Mei about how my endoskeleton not being strong enough. She got a little annoyed by that, but she is even more excited to continue to make me new endoskeleton stronger than the one I have now. Sorry, I was talking to Mei. I say. Izu. Iida just got his test results back. To-do says, getting my attention. My left hand might have permanent damage. Iida says, as the dots in my eyes shrink in shock. Permanent damage. I think to myself. Both my arms were pretty torn up. But the injury to my left arm was especially severe. There was damage to my brachial plexus. Which just means I'll have trouble moving my fingers. And my hand might be numb. There's a chance it could be healed with nerve transplant surgery. When I came across the hero killer, I stopped thinking rationally. The first thing I should have done was call Manuel. But I got lost in my own anger. I hate him so much, but I can't deny he spoke the truth. That's why, until I'm able to call myself a real hero, I'll leave my left hand as it is. Iida says, accepting his punishment for staying. Are you sure? To-do asks. Maybe I should have talked to him about what kind of pain he felt back then. No, not now. It would be selfish to make this about me. I thought to myself. Iida, it might not be the same. But let's get stronger. Together. I say, as we both nod to each other. I feel kinda bad. To-do says, confusing me and Iida. Whenever I'm involved, someone gets badly hurt. Is something wrong with me? Am I cursed? To-do says, as Iida laughs while I try to hold in my laughter. Todoroki, it was more of my fault back at the sports festival. I say, finally laughing, my raspy voice making a weird laughter. This isn't a joke. I'm like, the bone crusher, or something. As me and Iida only laugh harder. All Might POV at UA, a phone call is here. A phone call, my phone rings, as I put it to my ear. Yes, hello. I say. He can't possibly be serious with that ringtone. Aizawa thought, dumbfounded. Wah. Hi, sir. I say, standing up from my seat shocked. You coulda warned me about Izu. I know it probably couldn't be helped, but thanks to him, I'm getting a pay cut and my teaching license is being suspended for 6 months. His tendency to jump into situations without thinking is just like yours, Toshinori. Grand Torino says, on the phone. I humbly apologize, sir. It's just he doesn't really like me, so it's hard to teach him. Oh, man, this is bad. I say, sweating bullets while walking to the hall. He may not like you, but he is similar to you. But I don't care about my teaching license. You're the only reason I got it. And that was so I could keep my promise to your predecessor, Shimura. GT says. And I truly appreciate all you did for me. It's only because of your wisdom and guidance that I'm the number one hero today. I say, walking through the hall. I know, but let me ask, why didn't you give one for all to him? GT says, as I stop in my tracks. Well, I met him before he was much different than he is today. I thought he was not suited for OFA. I say, disappointed in myself. Well, you should have thought more about it. But I actually called to talk about the hero killer. I saw him only briefly in person, but in that short amount of time he shook me to my very core. There is such hatred inside of that man. GT says, as I sneak into the teacher's lounge. I can't believe he was able to frighten someone like you, Grand Torino. He must have already been tied up, so what scared you? I say, closing the door into the lounge. It probably stemmed from his fanatic ideology. There was something very intimidating about his obsession. I'm not trying to praise him or anything, but he's got the same determination as you when it comes to your symbol or peace thing. There are similarities. GT says. What do you mean? I say, sitting down on the couch. To put it simply, you've both got charisma. As the investigation continues, his ideology and opinions will be all over the media. Everyone will want to know his motives. The age we live in, for better or for worse, is one of suppression. There will be people across the globe who are influenced by these new ideas. GT says. If that's true, and he inspires copycat villains, they'll probably strike out on their own. Heroes will be able to stop them, just like they did this time. I say. That's where the League of Villains comes in. The Hosu incident suggests that Stain and the League are connected somehow. That means the League will go from being thought of as a bunch of juvenile delinquents that attacked UA to being recognized as a group with an ideology. In other words, these new converts will seek them out. GT says, shocking me. Even if each individual is insignificant, if that evil gathers under one banner, it'll swell to unstoppable proportions. If the villain in charge knew this would happen from the beginning, then he is a brilliant strategist. He's steadily getting rid of any obstacles one by one, trying to create conditions that will favor his own purpose. GT says. When I heard from Tsukachi that Nomu had multiple quirks, I had a bad feeling. What if he's back? I say, clenching my fists. You're concerned it could be the man who killed Shimura, my sworn friend, your MSTR, and the previous holder of One for All. The man who opened that hole in your stomach. You're afraid the villain named All for One is on the rise again. GT says. For him to have survived such an injury, though I don't want to imagine it's possible. I say, worried but angry. Tashinori. That child, you should probably tell him in case he needs to take over OFA if your successor fails. Be honest. He deserves to know the truth. GT says. Izuku POV, 2 days after the Hosu incident, the hero killer's identity and motives started being dissected from various angles. I narrate. Unknown POV, you know, lately, it's been hard finding to do business with. My buddies all complain about not being able to sell stuff. It's a real pain, a broker says, smoking a cigar. That's because it's a serious crime to develop or sell support items and costumes if we don't have a license. On top of that, there've been rumors that legit support companies have been setting extra gear on the black market to people who aren't certified heroes. An intermediary says, running his fingers along his gun. Ugh. Man, I miss the days before All Might. And I was still small time back then. Remember when villains were wild and impulsive? Everyone thought they could take over the world. It was a real good time. But when All Might showed up, everything changed and got so DMN boring. Can't have any fun when that pillar of justice is around. Maybe it's time for me to finally call it quits. A broker says. Don't be rash. Listen, just between you and me, I know of a way to make some real cash. Keep this on the down low, I'm only telling you BC, I know your guy has quality goods to sell. Have you seen this yet? I'm just going to call him the ugly guy, says, lifting up his phone showing a video named, Kill the Heroes, Stain. Huh. What's that? The broker says, confused. It's a video of the hero killer. He's hot right now. The ugly guy says, turning on the video. As the video starts, it shows a picture of Stain before BLD droplets appear before a picture of the hero killer tied up. The hero killer Stain. Real name, Kaizo Makaguro. As a child, he was greatly inspired by All Might's debut. He enrolled in a private hero high school, but was dismayed by what he viewed as the educational system's skewed understanding of what it meant to be a hero. Throughout his teenage years, Kism advocated for a return to the early days of heroes, but quickly realized that words had no power. For the next 10 years, he trained in killing techniques in order to fulfill his self-appointed duty. During this time, his parents passed away, in what police eventually ruled as a tragic accident. His focus was on returning to the old days. He believed heroes should not seek compensation. The one should epitomize the idea of self-sacrifice. He believed that present-day pros were frauds. Through his violent purges, he hoped society would eventually side with him. The video narrates. These streets must run with the BLD of hypocrites. Hero. I will reclaim that word. Come on. Just try and stop me, you fakes. There is only one man I'll let kill me. He is a true hero. All Might is worthy. The video says, showing Stain's speech before ending and the broker snaps out of his trance. This keeps getting uploaded and immediately taken down online. But they can't stop it. It's not hard to see. This guy is really stirring something in people. From villains with countless convictions, to felons on the run, all the major players, including me, are watching. It's infectious. Do you feel it? I don't think the heroes realize what's awakening. The evil that was once quiet and scattered now has a rally cry that's calling out to it. Individual criminals are seeking out the organization that the hero killer Stain was connected to. They're all headed to the League of Villains. Everyone's internship Izuku POV. It's been 2 days since Hosu, and 5 days since Class 1A started our internships. I had to stay and wait for May to finish my new endoskeleton. But everyone on the news is obsessed with the hero killer. The story being reported is that 7 pro heroes and 3 high school students stumbled upon him. Then Endeavor rushed in and took care of the situation all by himself. Of course, that's just the official cover from the police department. The chief was true to his word. Me, Iida, and Todoroki were never named in contention to the hero killer. Our injuries were explained as being caused by accidents that happened during our internships. The day Iida got his exam results and realized one of his arms was seriously damaged, he ended up going back home to his parents' house. So his mom could take care of him. Todoroki's injuries weren't all that bad. I narrate, as I walk with a nurse to get used to my new endoskeleton after the so-called surgery. Flashback: I'm returning to my internship. To-do says, getting ready to leave. Back to your old man. I say, messing with my unstable endoskeleton. I still want to learn everything I can from him. Besides, they're saying he defeated the hero killer, even though it was actually his son who helped out. I want to see if there's any shame on his face. To-do says, walking out of the room. As intense as always. I thought to myself. End of flashback. I wonder how everyone's doing. I thought to myself. Sorry I'm skipping. Baku is too annoying to type with how angry Baku gets so easily. At kids, Uraraka POV at Gunhead Agency. Let's start with how you'd fight against someone wielding a blade. Uravity. Try attacking me. Gunhead says, standing across from me as I wield an army knife. Are you sure? I say, a little worried. There's no need to hold back. GH says, encouraging me. All right. Here I come. I say, charging at him as I swing the knife at him, but he effortlessly dodges. When someone's waving a knife around, best bet's to keep your distance. If they attack directly, plant one leg and use it to pivot and dodge, GH says, stepping to the side. Then, grab their wrist and back at the same time. Now you can take them down. GH says, grabbing my wrist and pin me to the ground. See how I did that? Twist the attacker's wrist to make them drop their knife. Make sure you kick it away for your own safety. So, easy peasy, right? GH says, twisting my wrist, making me drop the knife before kicking it away before letting me go. His movements were so fluid. These gunhead martial arts are amazing. He's acting cute, but he's fierce. I thought to myself, holding my wrist as GH wobbled childlike and grabbed the knife. This time, how about I hold the knife? We'll keep on repeating this until it's second nature. Sounds good. GH says. Yes, sir. I say. Momo's internship is self-explanatory. Kirishima POV at a park with fourth kind. Giving back to the community is a big part of being a hero. So don't let me see you dragging your feet. Understand me? FK says, holding his trash back with his bottom arms and picking up trash with his top arms. Got it, Mr. Fourth Kind, sir. Me and Tetsu say, bored. I can't hear you. FK yells. Got it, Mr. Fourth Kind, sir. Me and Tetsu yell, reluctantly. Jiro POV at a hostage situation with death arms, how many hostages? DA whispers, as I use my ear plug on the wall. From what I can hear, I think only 2. I say, worried I might be wrong. Okay. We're going in. Earphone jack, you lead the hostages to safety. DA says, getting ready to go in. Right. Not a problem. I say, as DA bursts through the door. We're pro-heroes. Do as we say. DA yells. I'll escort you. Please, come with me. I say, as the 2 hostages run by me. Oh, we're saved. Hostage 1 says, as I follow behind them. Thank you, so much, hero. Hostage 2 says, making me smirk at the comment. Tsuyu Azui POV at Pro Hero Selkie Agency. I come out of the water after cleaning the bottom of the ship. Froppy. Sirius says, getting my attention. How's the work going? Sirius asks. I think I'm all done cleaning the deck. What now, Sirius? I say / ask, before Sirius holds up 2 drinks. It's kinda boring having to spend every day cleaning, isn't it? Sirius says. A little. I answer. You know, I felt the same way when I did my internship. As a kid, I'd always imagined I knew what it meant to be a hero. It turns out, the reality is very different. I always figured being a hero would be super glamorous, but then I discovered it was a lot of patrols and cleaning up. I even had to do laundry, which meant washing the captain's underwear. I had to ask myself what I was even doing here. Sirius says, a little annoyed. So you got tired of it? I say. At first, yeah. But, after becoming the captain's sidekick, I figured something out. I realized what was actually important when it came to being a hero. Sirius says, a little happier. Oh, really? What was it? Will you tell me? I ask, curiously. Oh, it'll be better if you find it out for yourself. Don't you think? Sirius says, happily. Rib bit. I croak. Hey, Froppy. Why re you just sitting there? Shouldn't a frog be jumping to get her work done? And I thought I told you to keep on top of her, Sirius. Don't you slack either, Pro Hero Selkie says, walking up to me and Sirisu. I've finished cleaning the deck, Captain, sir. I say. And I'm totally supervising her properly. Sirius says, wrapping her arm over my shoulder. Rib bit. I croak. Oh, is that right? Guess I jumped to conclusions. Sorry about that, ladies. I apologize, my bad. Forgive me. Selkie says, as he tries to make a cute face, Sirius sighs in embarrassment, as I look at confusion. I'm too cute for words, aren't I, Froppy? Selkie laughing, before winking at me. Yeah, she's dumbfounded. I know I always say this, but trying to look cute like that doesn't work. The rest of your physique is just too macho. Your face is pretty rugged, too. Sirius says, embarrassed. What did you say? When I make that sweet face for kids, they eat it up. Selkie yells, confused by the comment. Of course. Because they're actually making fun of you. Trust me, there's nothing cute about it. Sirius says, pointing her finger to him as he leans away. Adorable. I thought to myself, with a little blush. Captain Saki, sir. An urgent message has come in from the Coast Guard, Sidekick 1 says, standing outside the control deck. I hear ya. Coming now. Selkie says, walking up to the control deck. Froppy. Will you help me unfasten the ropes? Looks like we're sailing out. Sirius says, as I follow with a little rib bit. In the control deck, Sidekick 1 hands the phone to Selkie. Selkie here. Selkie says as I untie a rope with ease. Hey, you're good at this. Sirius says, before we start tugging the rope up onto the boat. I see. K, we're on it. Selkie says, before hanging up the phone. The ropes are pulled in. Sirius says. Hear that, sailors. Emergency departure. Selkie says. Aye, sir, everyone. Main cabin. Sirius informs us. I can take care of him. SK says, walking over before ink is sprayed in his face. My eyes. SK yells. Watch out. Sirius yells, before SK gets hit by a tentacle into a rock knocking him out. Froppy. Sirius yells, pushing me out of the way before getting grabbed by a tentacle. Sirius. I yell, before the door to the main cabin gets blown off by several tentacles. I've got you now. Innsmouth laughs. A villain. Sirius says. And here I thought I'd gotten away with it. But you idiots just won't give up, now will you? How sad. A girl and some kid are all that's left to stop me. Innsmouth says, before Sirius goes to swing at him with a baton but he swats it out of her hand before starting to squeeze her tighter. Not so fast. He says, as I try to move to help Sirius. I'll give her back just as soon as the Coast Guard calls off their search. But first, you're gonna help me unload the cargo, got it? He says, before static is heard catching his attention. Sorry. Our transmission was blocked, and we're still stuck on the fishing boat. The captain made it out. How are things on your end? Tell me your status. Please respond. SK1 says, on the radio in Sirius' ear Finn's worrying me. So this is actually a radio, huh? He says, taking off the ear Finn radio. Here you go, kid. If you value this woman's life, then repeat after me. Unfortunately, we weren't able to track down the stowaways. He says, extending his tentacle to hand the radio to me. Froppy. Don't do, Sirius says, before her mouth gets covered by the villain's tentacle hand. Sirius. I say, worried. Hurry up, now, the villain says, as I try to figure out how to get them out of here. Oh, I see. You don't care what happens to your friend here. Come on. Get to it. Well, the villain says, as I look over to Sirius. I realized what was actually important when it came to being a hero. The captain is relying on us to follow his orders. If we believe in him, then we trust in his course of action. Do you have faith, Froppy? Serious words go through my head. I get it now. I say, as Innsmouth chuckles I press the button. The stowaways are at the double rocks. I yell our location into the radio. Thank you, Tsu. Serious thought, before getting slammed onto the ground. You stupid little brat, the villain yells, going to attack me but I dodge his tentacles. I'll kill you. Stop jumping around and stay still, damn it, the villain yells, before I shoot my tongue at Sirius wrapping around her waist but my tongue is grabbed by the villain. Oh, yes. I've got you, the villain says, throwing me into one of the rock pillars. This is the end, Froggy. You're just a helpless child. But since you came here uninvited, I'll have to teach both of you a lesson, the villain says, before two things were thrown at him knocking him away from me. The two things that were thrown at him were Tonbai and Karasu. Boss, the two yell, falling back towards the water. My brothers, the villain yells, before something jumps out of the water, I ribbit happily as Selkie is shown. Captain. I say, happily. Sorry for being late. Leave the rest to me. Selkie says, before ink was shot in his eyes. Think again, the villain says, before bounding off the rock going to punch him but he dodges as clicking can be heard. Even if I can't see, Selkie says, as he blocked one of the villain's attacks. I know where you are. You can't hide, villain. Selkie yells, as the villain lands back on the ship. UBSTRD, the villain yells, sending a barrage of attacks at Selkie, but he blocks all them. Captain. Sirius yells, grabbing the villain's leg, making him lose balance. It's over. Selkie yells, sending one last powerful kick to the villain's face into the water, basically making an explosion in the water. The captain's amazing. I say, amazed. Froppy. Sirius says, I croak before jumping back down onto the ship. Are you alright? Did he hurt you? Sirius asks, worried about me more than herself. I'm okay. But what about you? I ask, worried. Well, thanks to you, I'm still here. Sirius says, as Selkie peeks his head out of the water. You two did a great job here. Thanks to you, we caught the stowaways. Selkie says. Captain. Sirius says, relieved. Thanks so much. Selkie says, trying to make a cute face. You really are hopeless. Sirius says, rolling onto the ground. Sirius, I'm really glad I had the chance to come to this internship. I think I got it now. What's important when it comes to being a hero? And it'll definitely help me become a pro. I say, happily. Well, that's nice. Sirius says, relieved. The next morning at the docks, arrest all the stowaways, the CG says, as the villains are being carried away on a stick. We were able to recover all the illegal drags they were trying to bring in. It was a big haul. By the way, you didn't tell me that you got a new sidekick, Saki. A Coast Guard says, catching me attention as I give a small crock. She's a UA student. Here for an internship. Selkie says. Well, you don't say. We put you through something scary today, huh? I'm sorry. The CG says. Hey, now. Don't treat her like a kid. Froppy may not have her license yet, but she's an excellent hero. I'd stake my name on that. Selkie says, as Sirius nods in agreement. Well, then, I guess I can look forward to working with you again. Hope to see you soon, Froppy. The CG says, as I shake his hand giving happy ribbits. Back to UA, that's better than seeing that. Cammy says, as I nod walking over to Iida and Todoroki. But everyone at my internship loved me. It was actually kinda great. Now, if you want to talk about the ones who really changed, it was those three. Cammy says, as most turn their attention to me, Iida, and Todoroki. Oh, yeah. The hero killer. Siro says, being held by the back of his by Baku. Glad you guys made it back alive. Seriously. Kiri says, also being held by his back collar. I was also worried about you, too. Momo says. You were lucky Endeavor showed up and saved you guys. Sato says, as everyone starts walking to us. So cool. Just what I'd expect from the number 2 hero. Hagakure says, as my claw tapping in annoyance, that we had to hide the fact we defeated him, but it's for the better. Yeah, that's right. He saved us. Todoroki says, as I noticed the annoyance in his voice. Did you guys hear the news about the hero killer? Everyone's been saying that he was connected to the League of Villains. Can you imagine how frightening it would have been if that creep had been there when they attacked the USJ? Ojiro says, I walk up to him. I could snap his arm again if it makes you feel better. I say, as everyone, some shake their heads not wanting to see that. Very well. I say, walking back over next to Todoroki and Iida. But did you see him in that weird video? It's all over the internet. Cammy says. I didn't even know there was a video of him. Ojiro says, shaking off the fear from me. Yeah, Stain's a pretty evil villain, but, like, super tenacious. He's almost kinda cool, don't you guys think? Cammy says. Kaminari no. I say, glaring at him with my white pupils. Oh. Dude. Cammy stutters, and shaken by my glare. Calm down Izu, it's okay. You're fine Kaminari. It is true that he's quite a tenacious villain. I understand why people might think he was cool. But instead of helping the world, his beliefs led him to cold-blooded murder. No matter his motives, killing cannot be condoned. 2. Keep everyone else from suffering like me. Well, I promise I will strive to be the perfect hero. Iida says. Good luck. I say, as I smirk at his declaration. It's time for class to begin. Everyone, please take your seats. Iida orders. He's back. Toko says. This is your fault for talking about weird stuff. Jiro says, looking at Kami. Sorry, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Kami says, as I bonk him on the head. You better. I say, before I remember his words back at the hospital. Until I'm able to call myself a real hero, I'll leave my left hand as it is. Iida says, in a flashback. You're already growing, good luck Iida. I thought to myself. At Field Gamma, I am here. Hope you're ready to return to our lessons. Today it's hero basic training. Feels like I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Now then. Listen carefully for what's in store. We're going to be conducting a little race. Take everything you've learned from your internships and apply it to this rescue training. AM says. If it's rescue training, then shouldn't we be at the USJ instead? Iida says, lifting his hand in the air. Ah, that facility specialized in disasters. As I said earlier, this is a race. So prepare. You're about to step into Field Gamma. Inside is an area full of factories that form an intricate labyrinth, so good luck finding your way around. You'll be competing in groups of 5. Each person starts from a different location on the outskirts of the model city. I'll send a distress signal, and you do what you must to rescue me. Whoever finds me first wins. But try to keep the property damage to a bare minimum, please. AM says, slowly pointing at Baku. Why are you pointing at me? Baku says, annoyed. All right. First group, get to your places. AM says. Why is Izu at the farthest side from All Might? Kami says. He's testing how fast he can catch up to the others. Mei says, watch from the back of the group, scarring the class with her sudden appearance. Mei. Uraraka says, surprised. Hi, just watching how his training went. Mei says. Who's your pick? I'm betting on Izu. Kiri says, excited. Oh, yeah. I got odds on Ojiro. Kami says, confident in Ojiro. I choose Ashido. 'Cause she's got a super athletic body. Mineta says. I know that Cat will be last. Baku says, annoyed. Even if he's still recovering, I think Iida's got this one. Uraraka says, as Tsu ribbits in agreement. Is everyone ready? Begin. AM says, before pressing a button in his hand as an air horn goes off. Zero uses his tape to pipe and stuff, Mina skating on the pipes with her acid, Ojiro slapping his tail on the ground to propel in the air, and Iida sprinting through the area. Look at him go. In a maze like this, it makes sense to be above everything else. Kiri cheers. So that means Zero's at an advantage because he can take to the sky. Shoji says, with his tentacle. Wait, the camera lost Izu. Sato says, as everyone looks at my camera to see I'm not there. It's like this course was built with me in mind. Zero says, before I speed past him as a purple blur I propelling off every pipe and wall with blinding speed. Something flew by Zero's screen. Kami says, as the camera finally catches up to me showing my quick movement through the area. Whoa, Izu. Kiri and Mineta yell. Since when can he move like that? Kami says. What, no way. Zero says, flabbergasted. Before he could only go in a straight line without almost getting lost. But it's like his mind is going at that speed as well, but also look at the way he propels himself through the air, Todoroki thought to himself. Crazy. Those jumps. He looks just like Uraraka says. Those are my moves. While I spend my time getting groomed at that useless internship, he replicated my movements. Baku thought to himself. Izu. Are you kidding me? We'll never outrun him now. Mina says, handing from a wall with her acid. He should have hit something by now. Ojiro says, using his tail to hang onto a pipe. I bound off a pipe before seeing a large pipe in front of me as I hit face first into the pipe with a dong. Everyone winces. A minute later where All Might is, and it's over. Thanks, hero. And congratulations. AM says, handing Zero a chest. All right. Zero says, proudly, as I sit there scanning my face to see if any damage happened to my endoskeleton. I think I was going too fast. I say. You're fine, babe, I have to go be good. Mei says, giving me a kiss before running back to the support course. I smirk before noticing Zero smirking at me. I will bury you if you talk about this. I say, glaring at him. Young Zero may have come in first, but compared to the start of the year, you all showed me some incredible improvements. Keep working and preparing for your upcoming final exams. Group 1, leave the field. You're up, Group 2. All Might says, before walking up to me. What do you want? I say, glaring at him. Find me after class. I have some stuff to tell you. AM says. Fine. I say, before walking off. In the boys' locker room, that was some tough training today, huh? Sato says. It's the first class in a while that had me glistening. Aoyama said, tired. Man, I really gotta work on my mobility. Kiri says, a little down as he takes off his hero costume. You could also compensate by improving other skills. Toko says, putting his tie on. Still wish I could use my quirk for speed. I'm jealous of you guys like you and Zero. And Izu. How are you even alive and conscious after that? Kami says, taking off his shirt. There's a benefit of having a steel endoskeleton. I say, putting my pendant in the locker, as well as my wrist bands. I see. Kami says. Hey, Izu. You won't believe what I just found. The jackpot. Someone Shawshanked a hole in this wall. A previous generation has given us a gift. You know what's next door, right? This looks into the girls' locker room. Mineta says, catching some of the boys' attention. I'm going to kill this grape. I say, getting my claws ready. No, Izu and Mineta don't even think about it. Peeping on them would be criminal. Iida says, as I reluctantly put my paw down. Then you'll have to throw me in solitary confinement, because you can't stop me. Mineta says, ripping the paper off the wall. Don't blame me, but I'm skipping this. I was about to smash him into the ground, but then Jiro's earphone jack goes straight into Mineta's eye, making everyone flinch, but I smirk. In the girls' locker room, ugh. Thanks, Kyoka. Heiga says. Despicable, we'll close up this hole immediately. Momo says, annoyed. Why am I the only one he didn't say anything about? Jiro thought to herself, a little jealous. In the halls I stand at the door to the teacher's lounge. This better not take long. I still need to pick up Mei. I say to myself, I knock before opening the door. I walk in, seeing AM sitting down on the couch in a serious position. Come have a seat. I think it's time to tell you something I know I can trust you with. AM says, as I sit down like a cat still looming over AM. Is it about this one for all thing? I ask, as AM nods. Yes, this must stay between us, young Izu. AM says, as I nod. Very well, one for all is a quirk that is transferred through the generations. I was the previous wielder of OFA. AM says, before I interrupt. Wait, you had this quirk when I talked to you on that roof. I say. Yes dash. AM says. I admired you, I wanted to be like you, great, someone that could put a smile on everyone's face just like you, I say, standing up. But all you could say was I can't be a hero without a quirk. I say, walking to the door. Wait young Midoriya. AM says, I turn my head to face him with a face that says, don't you dare call me that. I understand you have a good day. AM says, as I walk out. Oh what have I done? AM says, putting his hands to his face. To be continued.